Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the stuff. Yeah, get that full fragrance out there. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Okay, good. So what do you think this woman is smelling? Essential oil? Olive oil? Motor oil? Come on, what is it?
We have recreated the balm of a person that does not physically exist anymore.
Oh, okay. What?
We don't have the mummy of Senetnay, and we only have her canopic jars left, which usually contained her mummified organs. But these organs have also been removed. So at the end, we only had remains, tiny traces of the mummification balm, the substance that she was covered with for the afterlife. And so we took samples of these canopic jars and then analyzed the mummification balm. And based on that, based on the molecular composition of that, we could identify the ancient smell of eternity or the afterlife.
Yeah, you heard this researcher right. She's sniffing eternity. No, not the Calvin Klein fragrance, available online, at Macy's, or a men's room near you. We're talking what's been dubbed the scent of eternity, a substance that's believed to have been used in the mummification of an ancient Egyptian woman over 3,500 years ago. Yeah, so kind of like the perfume of a mummy. So let's back up. That woman sniffing an old mummy's cosmetic is a researcher at Germany's Max Planck Institute of Geoanthropology, which carries out all sorts of scientific research. She led the team that focused on substances used to embalm a noble lady named Senetnay back in 1450 BC or so, whose remains were discovered in 1900 by the same archaeologist who would go on to find King Tut's tomb in 1923. Impressive sounding guy, though I once found an unused gift card in my wallet. Anyway, this research team made use of two of these canopic jars, the containers used by ancient Egyptians to store and preserve internal organs, not for a pickled delicacy bound for a charcuterie plate, but for use in the afterlife. The research team scraped tiny residue samples from inside the jars that contained Senetnay's lungs and liver, and used those scrapings to analyze this mummification balm she had been covered with. Analyzing its molecular composition, the team then figured out these balms were a complex blend of beeswax, plant oils, fats, resins, and even a salad-worthy balsamic substance. Delicious.
You can really smell the complexity of it, and what is very strong at the beginning are the coniferous notes. Like the large resin, it's a little bit like you would walk through a forest for me. You know, all these kind of tree resins that you would experience.
Experts say understanding this mix of ingredients helps us better understand the mummification process, though it's not clear if it's shedding any additional light on what kind of cologne's been slathered on those supposed mummies they're parading around the Mexican Congress these days. But this research isn't just here to help us freshen up our coffins. It's also lending new insights into ancient Egypt's far-reaching trade routes.
We have plants from Central Europe, we have plants from Southeast Asia, we have plants from the Mediterranean part, maybe things that are locally in Egypt, locally available, such as beeswax. And all of that came together in this mummification balm. It just shows us how much or how connected the ancient Egyptians have been in the mid-second millennium.
In particular, the team had trouble identifying one particular substance. They think one resin contains something from a damar gum tree that grows exclusively in Southeast Asia. And they think if that's correct, that would mean ancient Egypt's influence extended up to 4,000 kilometers away.
This is a really restricted plant that only grows in India, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and in case they used this one, this means that the ancient Egyptian managed to get it from the eastern part of the world all the way down to Egypt to put it in the mummification of Senetnay.
Anyway, not only did this research team figure out what old goo this mummy used to be covered in, they took it to a French perfumer in Paris to figure out what it smelled like.
This is what I love to do, because now it's into the exhibition. It's like very... The travel through the past is complete, because you open a jar where the balm was, and now you have the smell.
A total of 20 different scent formulas were created, and the one they settled on smells like a Greek vacation.
The way I describe it, in a technical way, it's woody, resinous, balsamic, aldehydic, very warm, powerful. It's very important, I think. And in terms of souvenir, it reminds me some holidays in Greece because of one of the main ingredients called the lentisque pistachio tree.
Now, I'm pleased to report this odor isn't only for dead mummies, scientists, and perfume professionals to enjoy. If you happen to be equipped with a functional nose, you're free to inhale a hot whiff of eternity at a new museum exhibit in Denmark. Not only can your nostrils travel back to a time before Febreze, but visitors will also be able to sniff out ancient Egypt's afterlife obsession. And no, not that obsession either.
The ancient Egyptians were not these morbid, death-fascinated people. They were fascinated with life, and especially the continuation of life, and the fact that if life could continue beyond death, it could continue both here and in the afterlife and among the gods. I'm hoping that this will add a new layer and open sort of a new dialogue with the past, because we can keep telling the new stories with the same tool set, but here we have a chance to open up sort of emotional portals to the past, and this will, I hope, bring, at least to me it does, bring people back to something which is now 4,000 years gone.
The scientific research into this ancient smell was published back in August, and this museum exhibit, where you're free to pass around this nose device to all your friends, family, and loved ones, is running through next August. Though it's not clear if or when this smell will ever become available at drugstores, department stores, or the men's room of a nightclub.